Hello everyone. I'm doing this lesson because we have been missing a couple of lectures since the pandemic. Up to the point we stopped, I had actually completed 5 lessons out of the 8 we had to do for the semester, the BIT. So the remaining 3 lessons would be covered in this cover-up session. To start with, the first lesson to be covered today would be, now keep in mind, now I won't go into very much into detail about each and every topic I'm going to talk today. It's just about the things that you should know about each and every topic and whatever would be important for you to use in your examination. That is the core purpose of doing these three lessons, covering these up. So just each and every slide has information which would help you in your exam. So keep that in mind and follow this lecture. So I think that should be enough to face the particular areas of the exam. Listening for a purpose is one lesson. So you know what listening is. Listening is something that we do automatically in life. But then there are certain uses that we do by listening, things that we do by listening. So like there are very crucial moments in our lives where only listening is available, and we would only have the option of listening to whatever is said to us. So in such instances, listening is important, and gathering information out of what you listen to is very important. So let's see what's the importance of listening and how you do proper listening to a given audio. And now before going into the lesson, listening for a purpose is important in your exam because there are certain questions you get to answer after listening to an audio clip. So this particular part of this lecture would help you do that. So keep in mind, keep that in your mind and follow the lecture. Importance of listening. Listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. So communication is a process that we know. It's not a one-way process, but it's a two-way process. Somebody would be telling you something, and the other way would be you reacting to it or replying to it. So you should always do listen to receive properly and interpret the message, the message you have received. So that for that you need proper listening. Listening is key to all effective communication. Without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. So if you don't listen properly and if you don't interpret whatever you listen to, the message that came to you might probably be misunderstood. So that is why listening is important. So when you say listening, as I said before, listening is something you do by default. You listen to songs, you listen to music. It can just happen by the time you do something else also. But when you do listening for a purpose, there are certain techniques that you should use to listen properly and react on whatever you listen to. So there are 5 key active listening techniques you can use to help you become a more effective listener. First one is pay attention. Whenever somebody is telling you something or when you are listening to something, you should pay attention in the first place. Then give the speaker your undivided attention and acknowledge the message. So whenever a friend is talking to you, or maybe your lecturer is talking to you, give your undivided attention to the speaker, whoever it is, and then acknowledge the message. Now, this acknowledgement of message also we do without any intention to. Sometimes you nod your head, or sometimes you say okay or yes, give a response to say that you received the message. That would be an acknowledgement. Then secondly, you should show that you are listening. The speaker should know that you are listening. You should be showing, your body language should show the speaker that you are listening to whatever he or she is saying. Then provide a feedback. Maybe the feedback doesn't always have to be a positive feedback. Sometimes the fact that you don't understand what the speaker said could also be a feedback. Telling that you understood is also a feedback. Requesting the speaker to repeat it is again a feedback. It can be a different feedback, different sense of feedback, but then giving a feedback itself is a technique of good listening. Then defer judgment. You should come into a judgment as to what your response should be, what the speaker told you. Is it something informative? Is it something aggressive? Is it something happy? All that should be judged inside your brain to get into the next step of listening, which is respond appropriately. So if somebody speaks to you in an arrogant way, how would you respond? Would you just laugh at it? Or would you smile at it? Or would you say thank you to it? Would you say sorry to it? All that depends on your judgment. How do you judge whatever you listen to? So that concludes the listening techniques. Now we'll see what are the 4 types of listening. There are 4 types of listening. They are different to each other, that are essential to know when deciding what your goal as the listener is. So like I said before, the goal of listening to something could be different from one to another. Now, if you listen to a speech, probably let's say a guest speaker is doing a speech, what would the goal of listening to it be? Probably to gather information, to have knowledge on something, likewise. Or let's say you're listening to a song. Listening to a song is not something you do for information purpose. It's something you do to appreciate it, to entertain yourself or something. So you can see the goal of listening to the two types of audios are different from each other. So likewise, there are 4 types of listening, 4 types of goals one could intend to achieve by listening. So those 4 are appreciative listening, empathetic listening, comprehensive listening, and critical listening. So out of these 4, appreciative listening and empathetic listening is not what we are going to talk about in this session here. Just keep in mind that there are 4 types, and the first 2 are appreciative and empathetic, but last 2 are the 2 types of listening which we should pay attention to and have good knowledge about, particularly in this study program, BIT program, because we will definitely have to have a comprehensive listening to be done in the exam, and at a very smaller level, but you will also have critical writing in certain extents. So Just keep in mind that there are 4 types of listening, and the 4 types, out of the 4 types, the comprehensive and critical are the more academic approaches of listening. Retrieving information by listening is something that you should practice in doing comprehensions in your exams. So to retrieve information is to grasp important information out of an audio. So when you listen to something, that audio clip might have details that are not important to you, or that are not important for the question you are looking for. Now, in the exam, you get certain questions where you have an audio clip to which you have to listen to and then answer the questions. In such questions, you will have to retrieve information out of the video, the audio clip that you are given to listen to. So this is something that you have to master at in facing your exam. Tips for listening comprehension test. So there are 2 tips that I would like to give you in doing in facing listening comprehension test. Firstly, you should make good use of the time you are given before listening. Read and understand the questions and possible answers. Highlight or keyword, circle keywords. So something you can firstly do is read the questions. Now, if you take the order, the first 2 would come at the audio clip, and then you have the questions. But since in the online exam that you are given for the BIT exam, you will have the questions laid down in your screen before you press the play button. So I would advise you to read the questions first and maybe just give a guess for possible answers. Okay, and then you start listening. Then you would know, like right when the particular audio or the sentence starts up in the audio clip, you will know exactly what to pick up, because you know for what you have to find answers. That is why looking at the questions in the first place is very important. Secondly, you can use the time you are given between the first and the second listen. Now, in BIT exams, you can listen to the audio clip a couple of times, a couple of times. Now, when you do that, you can maybe start doing it in an order. First, you read the questions, then you play the audio, then you can read the questions again and remember what you were having listening a minute ago, and then you can pick your particular answer. So that would be the best way to do a listening comprehension test in your exam. Apart from the examination part, since we are speaking about listening at large, apart from comprehension tests, the other main purpose of listening is to respond. So in responding to whatever you have listened to, you should make a proper response to whatever you heard or whatever the speaker told you. So in doing that, what you should keep in mind is that you should respond clearly, correctly, and appropriately. So that responding part is a part which is out of the examination part. It's something that you would use in your day-to-day life. Focus on the parts of retrieving information and listening techniques, and mainly the tips for listening comprehension test. This is the most important part for you to face the exam from this lesson. Then we have the second lesson for the cover-up session today. 4 main types of reading. So we will be talking about the types of reading, why you read and all that under this topic. The topic is reading for a purpose. Now, what we concluded already is listening for a purpose. Now this is reading for a purpose. This also would result in particular questions in your question paper. So this is also something very important for you to look up to. So like I said, there are 4 main types of reading techniques that are used in English language, which are skimming, scanning, intensive reading, and extensive reading. Out of these 3, out of the 4, you should, for now, you should master in skimming and scanning, because that is what would help you in examinations most of the time. Reading for a purpose, this lesson is important for you to do this particular type of examination questions in your exam, in where you are given a paragraph or a text and subsequent number of questions, for which you have to read the text and then answer the question. So for this also, like I did in the previous lesson of listening, I will be giving you certain tips which you can use to do proper reading and proper answer writing. So let's see, why do we read? We read to gather information from a given text. In an exam, we pick out information from a text in order to answer questions about it. So usually reading is done to gather information, but in an exam, whenever a text is given for you to look at and read and answer questions, we read the text to pick out information in order to answer the questions given about it. How do you retrieve information? By reading. Now we just spoke about how to retrieve information by listening. Now this is how to retrieve information by reading. So focus on keywords and try using visualization. Try remembering the summary of the passage. Always, when you have a text given and a number of questions to answer from it, you should always, when you read the text, you should focus on the keywords, you visualize whatever said in the paragraph, and try remembering a summary of what you are reading. That is going to be effectively input in answering your questions. So how to use retrieving skills to do a comprehension in an examination. This is the most important part out of this lesson. So scan the entire test. When you say scan here, in the previous slide, I was telling you that there are 4 types of reading: skimming, scanning, intensive, and extensive. So scan here is that scanning, like scan reading. So in doing this, you can do scan the entire test. So you can just look through the question given to you. Before you spend too much time on the passage, make sure you look over the entire test. So since your BIT examinations are online and only one question is shown at once, you can just look at the question and see what the question is about and how long the paragraph is and all that, just to have a glimpse of what you are going to do in the next minute. Okay, so secondly, you can focus on the questions. So before reading the passage, please read the questions first. So this is going to help you big time, because since just like doing the listening comprehension, reading comprehension is also about picking out the exactly correct answers out of a given text. So read the questions first and then go for the passage. So secondly, you read the questions, then you read the passage, then work with the answers, because you know what your questions are and what you know what you have in your passage. So you just work on your answers. Then in the long run of doing comprehension examinations, you can learn and practice reading comprehension strategies. Now that I told about reading comprehension strategies, reading comprehension strategies are conscious plans, like plans that you make consciously, a sets of steps that good readers use to make sense of text. So these are some technical things that you can do in the long run. This is not something you can do overnight, but then it is good if you can learn and practice reading comprehension strategies. So a comprehension strategy instruction helps students become purposeful, active readers who are in control of their own reading comprehension. So this is something that you can research on in the Google, or you can Google what comprehension strategies of listening are, comprehension strategies of reading. All that you can do online on Google whenever you have time. So the easiest and the most practical comprehension strategy is the SQ3R method. In a given text, you can use this SQ3R method to do a comprehension question given to you. So SQ3R is scan, question, read, reread, recheck. So what you do is scan the text, question, read the questions, read the comprehension, then reread both, reread the questions, reread the comprehension, then recheck. This is how you do. This is one of the easiest and the most practical comprehension strategies available. So you can go by this and come for a very good outcome in doing a comprehension test. So one tip that I want to give you is don't confuse comprehension reading with fictional reading. Fictional reading is something you do for entertainment, which on the other hand, comprehension reading is purposely done for examination purposes and such knowledge building purposes. Fictional reading is something you read a novel or a poem or anything that is fiction. Reading a fiction would be fictional reading. So you should not confuse comprehension reading with fictional reading. Okay, the last lesson I'll be covering up in this session is summarizing and paraphrasing. So you should know what summarizing is, what paraphrasing is, and how these two differ from each other. So I have taken this one other additional part into this table also to make it even more clearer. So starting from the left hand corner, quoting is something you do using the author's own words. You use the exact words used by the author to tell something, to prove something, or to give the exact same idea to the reader in your text. This would be indicated with quotation marks. So you have to use these quotation marks, or we say the top commas, the pair of top commas, to show that these are quoted text. Then whenever you give a quotation, you should always cite the page and give reference to the original text. This is quoting. So in contrast to quoting, summarizing and paraphrasing stand in different two places. So summarizing is presenting the key points from an original text, but not necessarily everything in it. So this is what you should understand. Summarizing is a summary of a given text, of the original text. So in doing a summary, in summarizing a given text, you don't reproduce whatever is given in the original text. You take the key points and reproduce it in a more summarized way. Okay, so when you say summarized, it's shorter than the original text and make significant changes in words, like you could give one words to longer phrases, or you can use synonyms likewise. So it's summarizing, it's not about reproducing the same original text, but giving the gist of the text, basically. So key information should be taken out with lesser bulk of words. And usually when you say when you are asked to summarize a text, you should always summarize the given text, the new text, to be a 1/3 of the original text. So if, let's say, if you had 30 words in the original text, your summarization should have only 10 words. So that's how a summarization works. Even for summarization, you could give citations as to where you got the original text from. Then lastly, we have paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is presenting the key information from the original text. So you have one text given to you and you are reproducing it to be a different text. In paraphrasing, you don't really summarize. You just say it in a different way, whatever was said in the original text. So in paraphrasing, what is important is like how you express it than what you say. It should be the same thing that you are saying, but in a different way. Paraphrasing is all about ideas, and paraphrasing is very important in doing research to avoid plagiarism. So let me tell you how you do a summarize and how to do a paraphrasing. It's very quick. To summarize, you look for the key information, you read the text, given text, and you read, you grasp the key information, and then you look at each paragraph, locate the topic sentence if it is with multiple paragraphs, list the key points, first paragraph this, second paragraph this, and so on. Then include only the main ideas of the text. That's how you summarize. Paraphrasing is to be done in a different way. You should first read the passage several times to fully understand the meaning of the given text. Then note down the key concepts. Then you can write your own version without looking at the original text. Then you can compare the paraphrased text with the original passage to see if you have said what is said in the original text, but also should look at whether you are saying the same thing in the same way, because if that is so, you should probably rewrite. Then finally, you can cite the sources where you found the idea from. So this is how you summarize and paraphrase. It's something you have to practice over time, and of course not something you can do overnight, but then it is going to be all right by practice and by time. So I think this sums up our lessons for the VIT course, and I hope this will help you in doing your examinations. And just in case, if you have any further clarifications to be done, and if there's any unclear parts in this session or whatever the sessions we have been doing over the time, you can drop me an email. And also, if there is anything you think that was not covered by any of my lessons, you can always drop me an email, and I will be happy to help. I think that is for the day, and I hope you do good in exam.